Hello and welcome to We Poets. My name is Sally Baker and I'm the host of We Poets. We Poets is a poetry show for boys and girls between the ages of 6 and 13. So if you would like to be on the program, please have your parents or your school teacher call me. I'm always looking for youngsters to come and be on the program. Also, we have an internship program and we're always looking for interns to come and learn how to produce our program. So if you are a young person between the ages of 13 and 19 and you would like an internship, please have your parents or your teacher call me. And last but not least, I'm always looking for adult guests to come and tell young people something about their jobs or career that young people can pursue when they graduate from high school and college. Tonight we have a wonderful guest and her name is Katie Macdonald. She's an art teacher and she's going to tell us all about her wonderful artwork and how she teaches people, and she's brought some lovely paintings to show us, and she also writes books and she's brought several books and she's going to tell us about these books. So we are also here at La Pena Cultural Center in Berkeley, California, producing our program, and we thank them so much for letting us produce our program here. So here we go. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm all right. I'm good.
I'm so glad you could come and tell us all about your interesting career. So I'm going to jump right in. And my first question is, how did you get involved in children's books, and what was your favorite book as a kid?
All right. Well, I always loved books. My parents loved books, and they introduced them very early. And my favorite books were Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
How I Ran the Circus was just my favorite, all the magical characters. And I looked at Dr. Seuss and I said, you know what? Someday I want to write a book too. And that I really did. I said that when I was very young. But then life got real busy. I went traveling, and I went to art school, got married, had a couple kids, had to get a job, ended up, it just got busy, and then all of a sudden at age 58, I became a grandparent. And then I was so inspired by, my daughter has now 4 children, and they love books. In fact, they didn't watch TV for a long, long time. And so I was always reading books to them, and I thought, they have so many good stories. We have stories in our family, why shouldn't I just write a book? And so they actually inspired me. My grandkids inspired me. And the first book I did for them was kind of a story of my life, but also it's a story about their mother too, because it's called Grandma Katie and the Amazing Hot Dog. And the reason why it's got an amazing hot dog in it was when I was a little girl, I hated hot dogs. I couldn't stand them. I just couldn't even look at them. My mother would try to serve me anything, and I was like, oh, thing away from me. And then all of a sudden, I became pregnant with my first child, my daughter, and I craved hot dogs.
Oh, no.
Yes, and I had to, at 10:30 in the morning, during my break at work, I had to run and get a hot dog.
Oh.
And so then I had to write this story because it was so funny, because the kids loved food. And I did this from doing a bunch of prints that I had collected because I love to make linoleum block prints.
Oh.
And so these are all linoleum block prints. They are collaged on there. And this is the story of the hot dog and how different people in our families like hot dogs or like different foods and stuff like that. And like this one says, this is about singing like the birds. Katie loved to sing like the birds, and her songs had some silly words. And so it's also about me, because I also wanted to tell my grandkids, a little bit about me and our family. So that's how this is the one that started me off.
I see. Now, did you do all the illustrations?
All the illustrations, and I wrote it too.
Oh, now would you like to read a few sentences
Sure,
about
I can start it at the probably.
Let's see how this hot dog story goes.
Yeah, this story goes. Long ago and far away, there lived a little girl named Katie who loved to play. She had a little brother who had blue eyes like her mother, and a little sister she loved to pester. She had an old dog that would not jog, and a calico cat who really could scat. And then Around Katie's house grew 5 big trees for climbing and hiding, and a mud hole in the backyard was fun for sliming. So play in the mud.
Yes.
Didn't you ever play in the mud?
Oh, yes.
So that was
Made
about
mud
playing
pies.
in the mud.
Ooh.
So that's the beginning of this story. So it's kind of about me, and then it goes on to then later on. Then I have a baby, right?
Yes.
And then my baby, she loved. Oh, this is funny. This is about not liking hot dogs. She loved her sweet and goofy daddy. Her mom cooked healthy food that was oh so dandy, except sometimes Katie could get as mean as an old hog when her mama tried to cook her a hot dog.
Cute.
She would fuss and cry, "Hot dog," she said, "I will never try." That's influence of Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
And then Katie grew up and moved from Vallejo. She went to college and ate beans with potatoes. There she met a smart fellow named Jack who made her heart go pity-pat. Jack and Katie moved up to Berkeley. They got married and ate lots of broccoli.
Ooh.
And then one fine day, Katie knew a baby was in her tummy. She found out something oh so funny. Katie wanted one large hot dog for breakfast. In fact, she started wearing a hot dog necklace.
Oh, cute.
And then, so that's the
beginning
of this story.
I see.
And that was the beginning of all the books.
All the books.
Yes. And then, from then, I decided that each of my grandkids, well, they always had something interesting to say. And this one is about my second grandchild. His name is Damien. And this one is called Damien and the Whale Farm.
Oh.
And this was inspired because of Damien, who at this point was about 4. He had a bunch of little whales that he would put on his stomach and play with in the morning and in the evening, and he called them his whale farm.
His whale farm.
His whale farm.
Little plastic or
little
stuffed
plastic
ones?
whales, yes,
Plastic.
and stuffed ones too. And so then this is about a magic story where all of a sudden he gets really warm one day and he dreams he's on the ocean and he's swimming with the whales.
And you drew all these pictures?
Yes. Well, these actually are, now this is an interesting combination because these are sometimes are prints, right? These are linoleum block prints, and then some of this, like this, is just ink, linoleum block printing ink, and it's rolled in different layers. Wow. So then I cut that out and collage them together.
Heaven's sakes, do you teach these to students?
Yes.
Children and adults?
Yes. Well, I don't actually right now. Now, I did teach children's art, like an after-school art class when I was much younger. But then I ended up, just for a variety of reasons, teaching adults art. And so I've been doing that for over, 31 years.
And where do you teach adults?
Well, not now. Right now, I teach at the Berkeley Adult School, but I've taught art and done art in a psychiatric hospital with psychiatric patients.
Oh.
I've also worked with people with mental illness in another day treatment program in San Francisco, and so I've been doing this for a long time with people usually with mental illness or different disabilities. Also, I worked with people with developmental disabilities for a long time. And so I ended up learning and doing a lot of art with them. So this is back to Damien. He goes on this journey. He basically dreams he's on a journey in the ocean.
Oh, and the fish are all
and
around
the fish
him.
are all around him, and he gets a ride on a fish named Goldie. and Goldie takes him all through the ocean, and they meet whales. And then they swim with these other fishes. Oh. And then he basically, when he starts talking to the whales, here's a big whale. So the big whale comes and talks to him, right? And the whale tells him, "Take care of the oceans, and you're taking care of us."
How nice.
And so that's like the end of the book.
The story, yes.
Yeah, so that was Damien. And this one is not up on Amazon yet, but it will be in a month or so.
Good.
So anyway, that's for Damien. Let's see, and that's the end. That's him when he meets
nice?
He meets the whale. Wow. So yeah, and they're fun to do too. I found that they were a lot of just fun. I just love to experiment with the colors. I'm just I have a love of color, always have. And it's just so fun doing collage and making them. And then my grandkids get real happy too.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
so
you've
taught them, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And they're so, thrilled that they're in the book.
Yes.
So this book is called Tootie, the Singing Horse.
Oh, cute.
And Tootie is interesting because it's the name, it was a nickname I gave my first grandchild, Kyla, when she was a little tiny baby. I called her Tootie.
Tootie.
But as she got older, she didn't like it, didn't like the name Tootie because she thought it meant something, well, like a fart. But she still liked the name for something else. So when I said, Kyla, I'm going to make a book about you, because she loved horses. And she goes, and I said to Kyla, I'm going to make a book about you and horses. Can I call the horse Tootie?
Tootie.
And she said, oh, yeah, Grandma, that'd be great. And so I wrote a story about a singing horse. And so I can read part of it.
What did the horse like to sing? What kinds of songs?
Oh, yes, a lot of country songs.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, it sings Happy Trails to You.
Oh,
Happy
good.
Trails to You. In fact, that's the last song it sings as it's going away. I can show you the first song that it sings. Actually, this is when it's about when Kyla, this is an imaginary story, when Kyla moves to the country with her siblings. And they go on long hide-and-go-seek games, right? And while they're on one of these hide-and-go-seek games, they find, Kyla, who's the oldest, finds a duck pond.
Oh, and all the ducks.
And all the ducks come in there, that she loves to feed the ducks. And she says to herself, I don't want to tell anybody about the duck pond except me, because I'm afraid that because she's the oldest.
Oh, yeah.
And she doesn't want her little siblings to fall in the pond or scare away the ducks, right? And so she says, okay, this is my secret. I won't tell, maybe I'll tell my mom later, right? And she ends up telling her mom. But one time she goes and brings some crumbs to the ducks, and who comes out from the bush but a horse. A magical horse. It's kind of pink, and it turns different colors. And it says, this is a singing horse, right? And she thought, wow, what could that be? Where could this singing horse come from? And so this is a song that she first sings, all right? It says, "Oh, Stuba was a racehorse, and I wish he were mine. He never drank water, he only drank kombucha." Now, this is an old song, and it said in the original song it says he only drank wine. But I wanted them to drink kombucha because that's what her parents like to drink. So I
think we're running out of time for this segment. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about your paintings. So boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, don't turn off those TVs. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and see these beautiful paintings that our guest here has brought. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to We Poets. I'm Sally Baker, the host. I would now like to again introduce you to my special guest. Her name is Katie Macdonald, and she's an art teacher. And we just heard from her about her books that she has written and illustrating them. And now we're going to see her lovely paintings. So here we go with Katie. Hi, Katie again.
Hello again.
Now, my first question. What kind of art did you do as a kid?
Oh my gosh, I loved all kinds of art, but I loved drawing with crayons, of course, and pens, and I would do lots of story art about, and it's funny, what I loved to do was pirates.
Pirates?
Pirates and yes.
Oh.
Yes, and people in period costume.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, and that's what I drew.
And I see you're all in costume here. Lovely colors.
Thank you.
You like bright colors, right?
I sure do.
And tell us about this hat that you're wearing.
Oh, yes. I painted this hat. I have to show you, but this, I wanted to show you because I know you kids out there, you can find some funny hats. And this I painted with acrylic paint. I painted the outside. Of course, I got these later on. Look, there's a bee right there.
Oh, cute.
And then I painted also right there. And this is a lot of fun because you can paint it and then it'll dry and then you can wear it and you've painted your own hat.
How nice and so colorful.
Yeah, and the paint won't come off if you use acrylic paint, but you do it with an adult, of course.
With an adult, of course.
Yes.
Okay, now my second question. Did you go to art school?
I sure did. I went to, I graduated University of California, Santa Barbara. I had a wonderful teacher there named Craig Smith, and he actually got me into mixed media, which, you know, I almost always do on my paintings and in my books.
In your books.
So, yeah. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I encourage, you know, young students to go to art school because you'll just learn lots of fun things.
Good, good. Now, should we talk about these paintings? Why don't we start with the one over here on my far right?
Okay. So this painting was inspired by my father, and when my father passed away, it was, I mean, we were all very sad, but he was quite elderly, but he had a funny way about him. He always had his own lingo. So when I did a painting of him, around the edges, you can see, if you can zoom in there, you can see there's words, and these are all sayings that he would say. And one of them is, the one right on the bottom says, "It's a great day for cloud watching," and this was supposed to be sort of a cloud or something erupting from around the sun, but he always told me that because I was kind of a dreamy kid, and so he thought I was looking up at the clouds. Like, "Ooh, that's a nice one." Anyway, and so that's that first one. And and it reminds me of all the cool things he said, because he'd say funny stuff. He'd say things like, instead, if he'd get mad, he'd go like this: "I'm getting skitsy," like that. Skitsy. And so he'd say things like that, which were just very unusual. So I had to put those around to remember all the things that he said.
Oh, how cute!
And it sits in my kitchen. I will never ever sell
part
it.
with it. No,
because it's him. And every time I look up, and he's given me some advice. Yeah, practical advice. Is very
good. Now, how about this second one?
Yeah, the second one. Now this was and both that was done on a found piece of canvas. A friend of mine found that for me, and I repurposed it. I repainted over it. This was somebody found an old. This is a boogie board, and this is a painting of my son when he was about. He's probably about 10, and he loved to be in the water. And this is a painting of him on the Eel River up in Northern California. But I love that it was on a boogie board.
Boogie board.
Yeah. So, and he still loves the water, I think. All right. And
now the third one over here on my left.
Now this one is a really special painting because this one was inspired by a beautiful spot in Point Reyes, and where I used to walk with my family and my parents, and it was after my mother passed, and she was, you know, the last of, you know, my dad had passed, my brother had passed, my mother passed, and I did that sort of in honor of my parents and how their light still shines for me.
Nice.
And it was through a forest, inspired by a forest in Point Reyes. But it doesn't, of course, it's not exactly like that forest in Point Reyes. It's got to be, it's, you know, my interpretation. And on that painting, the leaves in the bushes up in the top, those are actually collaged pieces of a print, a linoleum block print that I did.
Isn't this wonderful? So you go to hardware stores or flea markets and get pieces of linoleum?
You can go to a good old arts and crafts store. There's a bunch of them here in Berkeley, and you can buy and they're actually pretty cheap. Like nice kinds of pieces of linoleum.
I
mean, I guess you could do a thrift store thing, but the thing is, the ones you buy in the arts and crafts store are nice and flat, and you can carve them, and they make really nice prints.
How nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And I've been doing that for a long, long time. I think I did that, gosh, when I was about 18 years old in college.
In college. Where did you go to college?
I went to 2 colleges. I went to, actually 3. I went to San Francisco State University, and I studied art there. And then I transferred to UC Santa Barbara. And then much later, I went to Antioch University, and I got an MA in clinical psychology with an emphasis in drama therapy, because it's something else that I like to do.
Yes, I can see. You're good on the stage.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now let's see, is there anything else here? What is the funniest thing that ever happened to you while you were teaching art?
Oh gosh, that was great. I work with all different folks, adults, and this gal is a little, she has brain damage, and that I was working with, but she loved to do art.
Oh.
And she always would take paratransit. So the paratransit would come and get her, but she was never ready. And so I would have to sing to her.
Oh.
And I would sing to her, and she always wanted the same song.
What was the song?
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. And then that same song, because I liked it so much, ended up in this book.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, but it was so funny because every time, and it became like a ritual, every time, the bus would come to pick her up, I'd have to start singing Happy Trails.
Isn't that sweet?
And everybody else would sing too.
Good, good, good. I'm sure you enjoyed teaching children that were handicapped?
Yes, I have. I've taught children, but mostly in the last 20, 30 years, I've taught adults. Though I did work in after-school classes with children. Yeah.
And you said you worked with Alzheimer's patients?
Yes, I do. That's another class that I do, but it's a completely different thing. It's not art per se. I sing and I tell stories and wear funny hats.
Oh, yes.
And they call me the Hat Lady.
The Hat Lady, yes.
Yes.
I've had several people from the Alzheimer's Center over here near the campus come
that's
and
where
be
I work.
guests. Oh, really?
Yes.
And one of the young men made me a purse out of newspapers.
Yes.
And shellacked it.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
How nice. Now let's see if there's anything else here. Let me see. Why do you like to paint on canvas?
Oh, I know. You know why I like painting on canvas is it's very forgiving. If you paint something on a canvas and you don't like it, you get this thick paint called gesso, and you just take it and you just cover it over and you
Start all over, huh?
Start all over.
Wow.
And so that's what I like it, because I'm always making mistakes.
Well, of course,
and that's
we all
how
do.
We learn.
That's how we learn, through
That's
our
it.
mistakes.
So that's why I like
this-
canvas.
Isn't this wonderful? Now, what does the future hold for you?
Well, I think I'm going to make some more children's books.
Make some more children's books.
And this one's on Amazon, by the way. If you want it, you can get it on Amazon. Tootie the Singing Horse by Katie Macdonald. So
Isn't that
I'm going to
wonderful?
in fact, I also am going to make one. In fact, I'm working on one right now about my 3rd grandchild, because he loves swords.
Oh, what you going to call it?
I'm going to call it Savio's Silly Sword and Beatrice, the Bouncing Bee.
Oh, wow, that's a long title.
I know, it's a long title. I might have to cut it down. We'll
Isn't
see.
that something?
Yeah, and then I'm going to do one about their dog.
Oh,
Pepita, the dancing dog.
isn't this something?
So I'm going to keep working on it.
Yes, yeah. Now, do you go out to schools, different schools, and talk to the children?
I haven't yet, because this just came out on, I was waiting for this to come out on Amazon.
I see.
And then I'm going to go to schools, because I've been busy making them.
Oh, yes. Now, you said you traveled. When you were traveling, did you write any books or paint anything?
Actually, I like to try. Yes, I do. I like to, when I even take the BART train, I always take either a sketch pad or my diary. And in fact, this book was written mostly on BART.
BART.
Yes.
Good.
When I was waiting to get over to San Francisco.
Yes.
And I would always write on BART. And it's really great, because it gave me something to do.
And so many interesting people on the BART.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever sketch them, the people?
Oh, yeah. I've sketched them, and then I sketch, like if I go out to hear music. In fact, this weekend I heard some great music, and I was sketching the musicians.
Wonderful.
So it's fun to bring your sketch pad, because you never know what you're going to see, and you might make it into a painting.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Did you ever demonstrate for more art for children and adults? Any demonstrations?
I try to think if I did that in demonstrations. I'm not I'm not sure. I did it once a long, long time ago, but mostly the demonstrations I do are when I'm in an art class.
Oh, yes.
And I show them different techniques. And that's what I do. And I also let them, my students, bring what they know to the class. Because every single person is going to have their own style. And I want to tell the kids out there that you all have your own style.
That's
and
right.
So don't let anybody tell you, oh, you can't draw a horse. Because that's another thing. When I was young, I didn't know how to draw a horse, I thought.
But you learned how to draw one.
And finally, the first book I did was about horses. And so that's pretty funny. Right? Because when I was young, people said, oh, you can't draw a horse. And then later on, I did this.
Okay, well, I think we're just about out of time, but I want to thank you so much for coming. It's been a wonderful, wonderful interview.
Oh, cool.
And I know if people want to contact you, your email is going to be on the screen here, so they can contact you.
Yes.
And I'd like you to ask your husband if he'd like to come and be on.
All right, well, I'll try, but he's kind of stubborn.
Well,
he's
that's
a little
all
more
right.
shy.
That's all right. So, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed this program, and I hope you'll buy some of her wonderful books and some of her paintings, and I know your children are going to enjoy them, and the adults too. So keep up the good work. So without further ado, let's say goodbye to our watching audience.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody,
Bye.
and thank
Bye,
you for
everybody.
watching.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Goodbye.